السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله تعالى فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما. ألا وإن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله تعالى وخير الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار. My dear brothers and sisters, today in this blessed night of Saturday, inshallah, we are going to talk about the blessings of Shura, or the blessings of the mutual consultation. Shura, or mutual consultation, is mandatory, obligatory, wajib. It's a form of ibadah, or a form of worship, through which we seek advice for the sake of Allah. We give advice because our deen, as the Prophet ﷺ said, ad-deenun nasiha, the religion is advising. So this is one of those forums through which we advise each other. Shura, it doesn't mean that it has to be, it is only between an organization and the members. It could be between the organization and the members. It could be between a member and a member in the community. It could be individual a need. A person comes and seeks the shura from the people of knowledge or the people of leadership. It's also possible that the shura is basically when a wife seeks the husband's advice, or the husband seeks the wife's advice, or the son seeks the parents' advice, or the parents seek the son's advice, and so on and so forth. This is all shura. These are all mutual consultation. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah Ali Imran, فَبِمَا رَحْمَةٍ مِّنَ اللَّهِ لِنْتَ لَهُمْ وَلَوْ كُنْتَ فَظًّا غَلِيظَ الْقَلْبِ لَانْفَضُّوا مِنْ حَوْلِكَ فَاعْفُ عَنْهُمْ وَاسْتَغْفِرْ لَهُمْ وَشَاوِرْهُمْ فِي الْأَمْرِ فَإِذَا عَزَمْتَ فَتَوَكَّلْ عَلَى اللَّهِ إِنَّ اللَّهَ يُحِبُّ الْمُتَوَكِّلِينَ. And by the mercy of Allah, you dealt with them gently. Meaning the Prophet, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala telling the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who was very gentle in dealing with as-sahabat al-kiram radiyallahu anhum. And had you been severe and harsh-hearted, they would have broken away from about you. Meaning the Sahaba would have left the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So pass over, meaning pass over their fault. Ignore doesn't mean ignore. It's like the Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that they're a human being, they'll make mistake, correct them, but don't take it as a point of contention. Pass over their faults and ask Allah's forgiveness for them. Seek Allah's forgiveness for them and consult them in their affairs. Meaning, just because they make mistake, maybe when you seek their advice, they give you not the best advice, or the implication of their advice had a negative result. Because of that, don't stop seeking their consultation. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, فَإِذَا عَزَمْتَ, but if you made a decision, فَتَوَكَّلْ عَلَى اللَّهِ, then have tawakkul on Allah, meaning do not waver. Don't be always in a state of confusion. You made your shura, you made your istikhara, and you decided, then of course you have the option to make istikhara if you want to, and after that you have tawakkul on Allah. Just do it. Then Allah Ta'ala says, Inna Allah yuhibbul mutawakkilin. Indeed, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves those who have tawakkul, who trust upon Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In another place in the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about the Shura, specifically in Surah Shura. There is a surah which is known as the chapter of mutual consultation. And this surah is a Makki surah, so the commands in this surah was given to the Prophet ﷺ and the Sahaba when the number of the Sahaba were very little and they were very weak, and there were no Islamic dawla, no Islamic government. Like when the Prophet moved to Al-Madinah, it was different. In Makkah they were under oppression, but yet look at what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told the Prophet ﷺ and the Sahabat al-Kiram to follow. Allah Ta'ala says in Surah Shura, verse number 33, I believe 33. Okay, فَمَا أُوتِيتُم مِّن شَيْءٍ فَمَتَاعُ الْحَيَاةِ الدُّنْيَا وَمَا عِندَ اللَّهِ خَيْرٌ وَأَبْقَى لِلَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَلَى رَبِّهِمْ يَتَوَكَّلُونَ. So whatever you have been given is but a passing enjoyment for this worldly life, but that which is with Allah is better and everlasting for those who believe. For those who believe and those who have trust in their Lord. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala describes the believers. وَالَّذِينَ يَجْتَنِبُونَ كَبَائِرَ الْإِثْمِ وَالْفَوَاحِشَ وَإِذَا مَا غَضِبُوا هُمْ يَغْفِرُونَ. And those who avoid the greater sins and al-fawahish, meaning the illegal relationships, and when they are angry they forgive. This is very normal to get angry, but we should not go into extreme. وَالَّذِينَ اسْتَجَابُوا لِرَبِّهِمْ. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala describes the believers again, and those who answer the call of their Lord. وَأَقَامُوا الصَّلَاةَ, and they establish the prayer. وَأَمْرُهُمْ شُورَى بَيْنَهُمْ, and they make the mutual consultation amongst themselves. وَمِمَّا رَزَقْنَاهُمْ يُنْفِقُونَ, and they spend from what their rizq, meaning whatever rizq Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given to them. Based upon this ayat and the examples in the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, the ulama of Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah, they have the following conclusion, that the Shura in general is wajib, is fard, mandatory, and it is an ibadah, a form of worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So what are the blessings of the Shura? It is part of faith. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala describing the believers, He says, وَأَمْرُهُمْ شُورَى بَيْنَهُمْ, and connected this to their faith. Second, it is one of the ibadat with which we gain closeness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The Shura brings the hearts together. Listening to different opinions and suggestions broaden the the understanding of the person who is seeking the Shura or the consultation, removing doubts from the heart of the people, especially when the community is involved in a religious organization, in a masjid or any religious organization, to establish healthy communication. So there is people when they give their input, they feel happy about it, and they release the burden that is in their heart. Otherwise, they will feel that I have not done my job. But when they advise, they relieve the burden from their chest, and then they release it or give it to the hand of those people who is going to take the decision, fearing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now the next important question that is, does Shura need to be done for all matters? First of all, matters which are clearly defined in the Kitab and the Sunnah. First of all, our religion is clear about everything, small and big. But there are certain matters which are dead defined, meaning like clearly defined. For example, 5 times prayer, giving obligatory charity, for example, women wearing hijab, for example, eating halal, for example, not committing adultery, fornication, not being a gay or a lesbian, for example. These matters are clearly defined in the religion. So these matters cannot be put into mutual consultation. So the organization cannot say, oh, we are in 2020, let's sit and decide because we have a different scenario, it was not in the time of the Prophet ﷺ. Let's see whether 5 times prayer is we are gonna establish the 5 times prayer or not, whether we are going to support this or that. These matters cannot be put into consultation. These are already defined by Allah Azza wa Jal subhanahu wa ta'ala, as Allah Ta'ala says in Surah Al-Ahzab, وَمَا كَانَ لِمُؤْمِنٍ وَلَا مُؤْمِنَةٍ إِذَا قَضَى اللَّهَ وَرَسُولَهُ أمرا أن يكون لكم الخيرة من أمرهم ومن يعص الله ورسوله فقد ضل ضلالا مبينا. It's not for a believing man or a woman when Allah and His Messenger have decreed a matter that they should have an opinion in the decision. And whoever disobeys Allah and His Messenger has indeed strayed in a plain error. That's something, first, most important thing. Second, the shura should be done in the matters like worldly matters or a matter of the sharia of the religion where shura is allowed. For example, we know that we should build masajid. So an organization is formed by the Muslims in a community and they want to build a masjid. So they come to the community and they seek their assistance. They say, well, we are thinking of establishing a masjid in this location. What do you think about it? And they collect the data and so on and so forth. So this is not about building masjid. This is about building a certain center at a certain location. So yes, in these religious matters, shura should be done. Shura must be done so that people can give their inputs about a certain matter very clearly, inshallah. Even religious, okay, so for example, the ulama, they say very, very important matters like war, calamity. About these matters, shura must be made, but of course these are not limited to war or calamity. This is open-ended. Shura cannot be about haram matters. For example, let's gather together to make shura to vilify a person, or to plot against Muslims, for example. Like we have in the example in Surah Yusuf, the brothers of Sayyidina Yusuf alayhi salam, they plotted to kill him or to throw him in the well, as we know the story, famous story in the Quran. So this kind of shura is batil. Okay, this is not ibadah, this is ma'siyah. This is basically plotting and khida, and so on and so forth. Tricking and mockery and so on and so forth. This is not shura. Shura is advice. Shura is simply advice. If somebody doesn't understand this, they are going to get into millions of problems. As in many communities, it ends up happening. In the name of shura, they basically backbite, slander, accuse, label, unnecessary remarks are passed against each other. This is not shura. So we have to control the temper and control the manners with following the evidences in the Quran and the Sunnah. Alhamdulillah, its matter is very simple. It is not really very complicated. The leaders or those who are in charge chooses one of the venue of making shura, because there are different venues, as we will see in the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. They do their best and they choose the best possible venue and they continue to make shura. And inshallah we're going to talk about the examples, different examples, which will be, alhamdulillah rabbil alameen, clear to everybody inshallah. After the class, we'll open questions if you have time. Brothers, you can send your questions in the Facebook and I'll try to see if I can answer them if I have time, inshallah, by 9:30. If not, then we are going to get back to you with the answers. But simultaneously when I'm giving class, if you send me questions, I'll not be able to answer them, because I don't usually look through the questions while you send. But you can, inshallah, send your questions, no problem, while the class is going on, inshallah. Okay, now the second matter is shura something discussed by the ulama? Is shura mu'lima or mulzima? Shura mu'lima or mulzima? Mu'lima means the consultation to gather data, gather opinions. Is the purpose of the shura to gather opinion, or is the shura mulzima, which means is the shura, meaning those who seek the shura, it is a must that they have to abide by the suggestions. After looking at the evidences, the ulama, they concluded, of course, the correct position is shura is mu'lima. Shura is to collect the data, the opinions, not mulzima, i.e. those who give suggestions, it is not abiding that those who seek the advice, they must obey or they must take the suggestion into consideration. It is up to the leaders, of course, fearing Allah, of course, keeping all of the hudud of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and if they see that there is a possibility for them to accommodate, they should accommodate. They should accommodate, because facilitation is also important. But the point is, Shura is not mulzima. Shura is mu'lima, i.e. Shura is basically there to collect the data, collect the opinions, so people can give their opinions freely, insha'Allah ta'ala. Let's look at some of the examples in the Quran and the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. For example, Shura with women. Can the woman give Shura? Because some of the people, they think that we do not consider the women's opinion as anything. They are not to be, they are not smart, they are this, they are that. This is not correct. Okay, we have the hadith in Sahih al-Bukhari, and there is so many examples, but one hadith is sufficient, because this has happened at a point. It was the crucial situation in the state of the Muslims. Okay, and this has happened in the Battle of Hudaybiyah, or the Treaty of Hudaybiyah, Sulh Hudaybiyah, which is known as the Sulh Hudaybiyah, and the hadith in Sahih al-Bukhari. As we know that the Prophet ﷺ left with many companions of the Prophet, many companions to go and do Umrah, but they were stopped at the place called Hudaybiyah, and the Prophet ﷺ was forced to write a treaty with the kuffar of the Quraysh. And many of the great companions of the Prophet ﷺ was not happy with this. Okay, so since they were in their ihram and they were stopped, when the Hujjaj are stopped and they are in their ihram and they cannot perform the Hajj and Umrah, what they need to do is they have to sacrifice their animal and come out of the ihram, shave their head and come out of the ihram. Okay, that is the ruling in this situation. So the Prophet ﷺ, and the hadith is reported in Bukhari by Miswar ibn Makhrama and also Marwan, that the Prophet ﷺ 3 times commanded the Sahaba to do it, but none of them got up. So the Prophet was very angry, and he went inside his tent, and Salama radiallahu anha, the mother of the believers, he said to Salama radiallahu anha about what has happened. So Salama said to him, O Prophet of Allah, do you want your order to be carried out? Go out and don't say a word to anybody till you have slaughtered your sacrifice and call your barber to shave your head. So the Prophet ﷺ went out and did not talk to any one of them till he did that, i.e. he did the slaughtering and the shaving. Seeing that, the companions of the Messenger of Allah ﷺ got up, slaughtered their sacrifices, and started shaving their heads of one another, and there was so much rush that there was a danger of killing each other, i.e. there could be a situation of stampede that happens when there is a lot of people and they're trying to rush to do things. Why they were trying to rush to do things? Because they were believers. Although at one point they got very hard, and they felt that the treaty is a defeat for the Muslims, but actually Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala opened their heart, and Allah defined that treaty as Inna fatahna laka fatham mubina, that it is a victory. It is one of the greatest victory for the Muslims and the Sahabat al-Kiram radiyallahu anhum wa ardahum. And of course the ones who answer the call of Allah and His Messenger, they are always going to be inshallah ta'ala successful. Shura with the children. The parents need to make shura with the children. For example, we have the evidence in Surah Al-Saf, very famous evidence. In Surah Al-Saf, verse number 102, the dream of Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salam. فَلَمَّا بَلَغَ مَعَهُ السَّعْيَ, when the age of that boy came to be at that level that he could do things with his father, قال النبي الكريم إبراهيم صلى الله عليه وسلم يا بني, O my son, إني أرى في المنام أني أذبحك, indeed I saw in my dream that I'm slaughtering you, فانظر ماذا ترى, so tell me what you think. This is shura for sure. This is teaching, of course, and this is also shura. So his son said, قال يا بتي, said, O my father, افعل ما تؤمر, do whatever you're commanded, ستجدني إن شاء الله من الصابرين. Similarly, when we know the hadith of Ibn Abbas in Sahih al-Bukhari, that when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commanded Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam to build the house, the Kaaba, at a certain location, he goes to Makkah and he finds him near the Zamzam, and he was sharpening his arrow, and he gets up and he greets his father, and he tells his son, Ibrahim alayhi salam tells his son Ismail that Allah has commanded him to build a house, and Ismail says, obey your Lord. He said, Allah wants you to help me. He said, I'll help you. This is how we have evidences that the parents make shura with the children. Shura with individuals, one on one. Is this in the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ? For sure. When there is a need, the leaders can do that, and they can exercise this for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the evidence is many, but one of the very famous one. And we are talking about especially very, very crucial, scenario. These are very, very crucial scenario, not like normal situation. Very tense situation. And this is the hadithatul ifk, the during the slandering of our Sayyidina Aisha radiallahu anha, the famous hadith, the long hadith in Sahih al-Bukhari. At one point, when the Prophet ﷺ was not receiving any revelation to support Sayyidina Aisha radiallahu anha, our Aisha, she said that the Prophet ﷺ called Usama ibn Zayd and Ali ibn Abi Talib radiallahu anhum to take their mashwara with regards to divorcing his wife, because he was thinking that is there a problem, and would he separate from Aisha radiallahu anha or not. At that point, Usama ibn Zayd gave him advice. She said, Usama ibn Zayd told Allah's Messenger of what he knew about the innocence of his wife and his affection he kept for her, the Prophet's affection for Aisha radiallahu anha. He said, O Allah's Messenger, she is your wife and we do not know anything about her except good. But Ali ibn Abi Talib said, O Allah's Messenger, Allah does not impose restriction on you, and there are plenty women other than her. If you, however, ask her slave girl, she will tell you the truth. So the Prophet ﷺ asked Barira. So here we have 3 one-on-one consultation. Barira, the slave girl of Aisha radiallahu anha. So Allah's Messenger called Barira and said, O Barira, did you ever see anything which might arouse suspicion? As regards to Aisha, Barira said, by Allah who has sent you with the truth, I have never seen anything regarding Aisha which I would blame her for, except that she is a girl of a mature age who sometimes sleeps and leaves the door of her family unprotected, so the domestic goats come and eat it. This was the only fault Barira saw in our mother Aisha radiallahu anha, not because she was in ghafla, heedless, okay, because there are some people who are heedless. They waste food, they waste money. We are not talking about that. She was basically a young girl, so she used to be overcome with sleep, and this is the only thing that used to happen. And that shows how the women in the Sahaba, they were so protective of the wealth of their master and protective of the wealth of their family, and they would not let things go into waste. Then of course shura with the community. This is one of the best form of shura. During the hadithatul ifk, one second. During the hadithatul ifk, when the Prophet ﷺ took the advice from as-sahabat al-kiram and he was content with it, our mother Aisha, she said, Anna Rasul, at the hadith in Bukhari, Anna Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam khataba an-nas, he gave khutbah to the people, fahamid Allah, and he praised Allah, wa athna alayhi, and he glorified him, wa qala ma tushiruna alayya fi qawmin yasubbuna ahli ma alimtu alayhim min su'in qat. He said to the people, what do you suggest me regarding those people who are abusing my family, my wife? I have never known anything bad about her. Nothing bad about her. So this is an evidence that in such a matter, the Prophet ﷺ used to seek general counseling from the community, and inshallah ta'ala this is one of the best form. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Shura in reverse. Shura in reverse. What if the leaders, they are firm about a matter? They are firm about a matter and they decided on something. They decided on something. Can the members of the community question them? Yes, they can. Was it better for them to make the shura? Yes, probably. But is it a sin if they decide in certain situations not consulting the members or all the members in the community? Yes, it is. And we have the evidence from Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiallahu anhu. And the examples that we are taking from the Sahaba's life and the Prophet's life are very crucial examples. Okay, we know that the battle that happened, which is known as Harbur Ridda, the battle of those apostates against the apostates. There was a group of people from the tribes of the Hawazin. They apostated after the death of the Prophet ﷺ, and they said they don't want to participate in zakat. When they did that, Abu Bakr as-Siddiq, who was the Khalifa at that time, he decided to go into fight with them, meaning a war. He declared war against them. And at that time, Umar ibn Khattab came and challenged him. Challenge in the sense that don't think of challenging in a bad way. Challenging meaning coming and saying, how could you do that? When the Prophet ﷺ said that if somebody believes in Allah and prays 5 times a day and this, then his wealth, his blood is safe. Okay, he asked Abu Bakr as-Siddiq, and this discussion is very clear in Sahih al-Bukhari, authentic reports. Then Abu Bakr as-Siddiq told him that even if they deny to give one she-camel, which they used to give in the time of the Prophet ﷺ, I will fight them until they give. So when he saw the determination, he said, when I saw the determination from Abu Bakr as-Siddiq, I knew that this is something from Allah. That this is not a personal ijtihad. It is something that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, from him he has received this help to come up with this decision, and Allah opened his heart to agree with Abu Bakr as-Siddiq. And as you know, that they all went and fought in the battle, and those people, they repented and they came back. Many of them, they came back to al-Islam. This is what can be called Shura in reverse. So if the leaders, they take a decision, and this decision is some of the people, they think that Shura, they have some inputs, or they should have been consulted. That's absolutely fine. They can go back and ask the questions to the leaders, and this will be a Shura. This will end up being another Shura, and which is known as Shura in reverse. Similarly, we have very famous example. One of the most crucial thing in the life of Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salam. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told him to take his wife and his newborn baby and put them in a place there is no any people, no vegetation, no water. This is something not normal. And we are talking about a normal command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Of course, astaghfirullah, we're not saying it's abnormal, but it is something specific. What we mean by that, it's a specific for a specific prophet, very, very delicate. Okay? Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam, from the story that we know from Sahih al-Bukhari, from the hadith of Abdullah ibn Abbas, we know that he did not reveal this to Hajar. How do we know this? Because when he left them there and he was going back, Hajar ran behind him and he said, "Oh Ibrahim, why are you leaving us here?" And he would not answer until she asked him the right question. Is this a command from Allah? He said yes. He said, then Allah would not leave us alone. So this is called Shura in the reverse. A person who is muttaqi, or a leader who is muttaqi, who decided something, and he is decided upon deen, not upon just wishy-washy things, and they know that this is something clear in the Kitab and the Sunnah, the teaching is clear in the Kitab and the Sunnah, they have the right to take the decision, and also the people has the right, those who are under their authority, like in this case Hajar was under the authority of Ibrahim alayhi salam, and Umar radiallahu anhu was under the authority of Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiallahu anhu. Those who are under the authority of that leader, whether he is the leader of the home, of the family, or a community, or a society, or an organization, the members have the right to come respectfully, ask the reason, and try to reason with the leaders, to understand their point of view. And maybe in certain cases the leaders could be wrong and they could be corrected, and when it is clear that the leaders are wrong, alhamdulillah, the leaders realize it, they will correct themselves if they are muttaqi, alhamdulillah rabbil alameen. So the mutual consultation, the shura in our religion is so beautiful that even if a decision is being taken, there is still time to make shura, alhamdulillah rabbil alameen, to mend any kind of deficiencies that was there in taking the decision. And this was the companions of the Prophet ﷺ. These are the Sahaba and the companions and the Prophet. So think about us when we are the leader of the home or leader of the community or a society or an organization, you would don't expect them to act like angels. Okay, but at the same time we cannot pass mistakes. We have to, inshallah ta'ala, approach the right way to correct, alhamdulillah rabbil alamin, with respect. Now when there is the shura, which is mu'allima, the opinions are collected. How do the leaders make the decision? This is a very common question that is being asked. Is it that they have to make the decision based upon majority? Is it that they have to base it upon minority or any other? And when we look into the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, we see that all three are left open. There is nothing that can be said to say this should be done. And if somebody doesn't do it, then he is sinning. For example, the leaders or the one who collects the opinion can follow the majority if he wants to, if he sees that this is what is good. For example, the father of the house, there is a certain issue and he is discussing with his family members. There's 10 family members. 7 of them, they favored something and 3 of them didn't. He can take the majority. He can take the majority opinion. Of course, this is as long as this is something where the shura is allowed, of course. Yeah, shura is allowed. He can also take the minority. The majority cannot blame him. Say, oh, you didn't listen to me. 7 people said, only 3 they said. Cannot do that. This because the decision is his, not the members. Or he can cross out 7 what they said and cross out 3 also what they said, and he can take his own decision. Okay, he can take his own decision because he thinks that this is better. Those 2 suggestions are not good. Leaders have all of these authority, as we will see from the Sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Examples in the Prophet's Sunnah where the Prophet sallallahu accepted the majority. And this happened in the Battle of Hunayn, or the battle of, which is known as the Battle of Hawazin, the tribe of Hawazin. This happened after the Fatih Makkah, the victory of the Makkah. There was a group of people from the tribes of Hawazin. They were basically plotting to fight the Muslims. As we know that all the battles the Prophet fought, he didn't fight to gain lands. He didn't fight to control people. He had to fight them because those people were plotting against the Muslims, to calm them down. Otherwise, the Prophet had written literally tons of sulh, tons of treaty with everybody. Jews, Christian, polytheists, Arab tribes, anybody. Anybody he found that they could write a treaty and live peacefully with each other, this is what he first did. And this is what he highly encouraged them to do. Until they forced him to take the weapon. And then he was not a coward, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He was the bravest of all. So during the battle of the Hawazin, in Sahih al-Bukhari, we have the hadith on the authority of Abdullah ibn Umar. The Prophet ﷺ besieged the people of Ta'if, and this is basically talking about the battle of Hawazin or the battle of the Hunayn. But he did not conquer it. So he said, tomorrow if Allah wills, we will return home. On that the Muslims, as Sahaba said, then we return without conquering it, meaning they wanted to stay and fight. So he said, then carry on fighting tomorrow. So he took the opinion of the Muslims. Majority they decided. Although he as a leader had the right to say, no, we're going to go back. Everybody had to follow him. The next day many of them were injured. The Prophet ﷺ said, if Allah wills, we will return home tomorrow. It seemed that the statement pleased the Sahaba, so the Prophet ﷺ smiled. And this is an example of where the Prophet ﷺ took the decision of the majority. Then we have also in the Battle of Hunayn, very beautiful. In the Battle of Hunayn, as we know that they were defeated. Finally they were defeated and the Prophet ﷺ took war captives and wealth. Then the Prophet came back to Al-Madinah and he did not distribute the ghanaim. He didn't distribute them. He waited. Because those people, they repented. The tribes of the Hawazin, they repented and they came back to the Prophet ﷺ requesting him to give them back their captives and their wealth. So the Prophet ﷺ was happy about it and he told them, okay, you have choice. Either you take the captives, we will give it to you, or we will give you the wealth. And this hadith is reported by Imam al-Bukhari on the authority of Miswar ibn Makhrama and Marwan the Tabi'i on the authority of as-sahabat al-kiram radiyallahu anhum wa ardahum. So when they came, the Prophet ﷺ called the Sahaba. Okay, in short, I'm not going to go to the narration. Short, came told the Sahaba that, look, you have the war captives, and these are your brothers. They have come to repent, and I think it's good that we should give them back what they want. So he said, those who want to willingly give their the captives. So in the war captives, when the people they're assigned to different warriors. So you will get this, you will get this person, you will get that lady, and so on. So you get that child, and so on and so forth. So the Prophet said, if you want to give it back to them, this is the best. But if you don't want to give and you want us to pay you, then wait until the first fai or the first booty comes. We're going to pay you from that, and then you release your share to them. The Prophet was very fair to them. They agreed. As-sahabat al-kiram, they agreed. They agreed, O Prophet of Allah, we want to do that. Majority agreed. Then the Prophet told them, look, I'm not sure who of you are agreeing, who are not agree. Why don't you go back to your tribe and talk to your leaders and discuss with them, and then your leaders will come back to me and report me what you want. So they went back to their tribes and they talked to their leaders, and the leaders came back and told the Prophet ﷺ that they are all willing to give up the war captives. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. So this is what happened, where the Prophet ﷺ, of course, allowed the majority to participate in it. Examples of the minority being heard, and this has happened in the Battle of Uhud. In the narration is reported by Imam al-Hakim in his Mustadrak, and that has been authenticated by Imam al-Albani rahimahullah ta'ala, and also Sheikh Muqbil ibn Hadi al-Wadi'i rahimahullah ta'ala. This is narrated by Abdullah ibn Abbas radiyallahu anhu. He said, the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam got as spoils of war his sword Dhul Fiqar. His sword Dhul Fiqar on the battle of Badr. So this is a sword the Prophet ﷺ got on the battle of Badr, and it is the same sword that he saw in the vision, in the dream on the battle during the days of Uhud. When the polytheists, the news of the polytheists are coming because they want to take the revenge, the position of the Messenger of Allah ﷺ was to stay in Medina and fight them from within Medina. But some of the younger people who did not attend the battle of Badr, they said, would you take us out to them so we can fight them in Uhud? They hoped to attain the virtue that those who attended during the battle of Badr, which they could not attain because they didn't go. Because battle of Badr, as we know from the way it happened, it was not supposed to be a war, but it ended up being a war. So many of the companions did not have the chance to attend the battle of Badr, and the Ashab al-Badr, they have a very high status. So the intention of a Sahaba, those who were few in number and they were disputing with the Prophet ﷺ, disputing in the respectful way, the intention was good. So they kept on arguing, Ibn Abbas said, with the Messenger of Allah ﷺ until he put on the gear of war. Okay? Then they regretted and said, O Messenger of Allah, stay, for the correct position is your position. In other narration they said, we felt that we have forced you. Okay? The Messenger ﷺ said, no, it is not suitable for a prophet to take off the gear of war after wearing it until Allah rules between him and his enemy. So they were now stuck to go based upon the minority decision. The Prophet ﷺ could have hold on to the majority. Then the Prophet ﷺ said, I saw that I was in a strong shield. In a dream, he saw that he's in a strong shield, and I interpreted that shield to be Al-Madinah. Okay? And behind me was a ram, and I interpreted that to be the division of the battalion, the army. And I saw a fracture in my sword, Zulfiqar, and I interpreted that to be a fracture in you, and I saw, meaning like, there would be some calamity, and I saw cows being slaughtered in the dream, and he said, by Allah, these are good cows, baqarun khayrun, good cows. And these are talking about the shuhada of the battle of Badr. Sorry, the Battle of Uhud. So this is a great example of a crucial matter where the Prophet ﷺ took the decision of minority. Majority, minority. Then we have the example that none of the decision, majority or minority suggestion might be overruled by the leader. And he can choose what he thinks is correct. We cannot call this person autocrat unless he is the autocrat. Okay, but if he is following Kitab and Sunnah, he is a Sunni man and he follow the Kitab and the Sunnah, we cannot jump and name call people and label people. That would be, a great sin against our Muslim brothers or those people who, serve the cause of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this hadith is reported, or athar is reported in Sahih Muslim, Kitab al-Hajj, Bab Naqd al-Ka'bati wa Bina'iha. Demolishing the Kaaba and building it from scratch, meaning building it new. Ata ibn Abi Rabah reported that the Kaaba was burnt in the time of Yazid ibn Muawiyah when the people of Syria or Sham had fought Makkah. They fought, and because of that the Kaaba was burnt. And it happened with it, in the Kaaba, what happened with the Kaaba was written. Okay, that's what Atta is saying. Ibn Zubayr, which is Abdullah ibn Zubayr, at that time he was the leader in Makkah, felt that until the people came in the season of Hajj, he should not fix it. Because he wanted, and Atta said, because he wanted the people to see what the armies of the Sham they did to the Kaaba, to kind of energize them to understand this is wrong. So when the Hajj Mawsam came, Ibn Zubayr radiallahu anhu, he went to the people and he said, "O people, when the people came for Hajj, advise me about Kaaba. Should I demolish it and then build it from its very foundation, or should I repair whatever has been damaged of it?" And the point here is to understand that yes, he had the authority to fix the Kaaba, but he decided to wait until the Hajj. Now here you have Abdullah ibn Abbas, and he's a Turjuman in Quran, one of the major ones in that time. Ibn Abbas said, an idea has occurred to me, and this will teach us, you see, the fiqh of giving advice and not to be in love of my opinion. Some people, they are love of their opinion. When they give advice, they think this is the haqq, and if somebody doesn't follow it, he's sinning, and they go crazy. This is not the right way. You have to, yes, if you think something is correct, something is the truth, yes, you should be very firm about it. But don't claim that this is the way, unless it is the way. So Ibn Abbas said, look at the way, this is something we have to learn from the aspect of giving advice and taking advice. Ibn Abbas said, an idea had occurred to me according to which I think that you should only repair the damaged portion of the Kaaba and leave the house, meaning the Kaaba, people embraced Islam on. When the people embrace Islam, meaning keep the Kaaba, the original Kaaba, upon which the people embrace Islam. Okay? And over which Allah's Messenger has raised it. So don't touch the other things, because here the Prophet ﷺ was there when it had happened in his time, and he was part of it. Okay, so don't touch all of these things. This was the opinion of Abdullah ibn Abbas. Okay, and it is very good opinion. But Ibn Zubayr said, if the house of any of you is burnt, he would not be contented until he had reconstructed it. Then what about the house of your Lord? I would seek good advice from my Lord thrice, and then I would make up about this matter. After seeking good advice thrice, meaning istikhara, making three days, it could mean 3 days or 3 times he made istikhara, he made up his mind to demolish the Kaaba. The people were afraid that a calamity would befall upon from the sky on those person who would be first to climb and break the Kaaba. Till one person, he took the courage and he went up and threw down one of its stones. When the people saw no calamity befall upon him, they followed this man, demolished the Kaaba, and it was raised from the ground, and they saw basically the foundation of Sayyidina Ibrahim sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wasallam. And that is an example, clear example, that shows that people did not, nobody supported or nobody had that position that Ibn Zubayr, the Amir or the leader, had, when he, and this is a very crucial matter, brothers and sisters. Please keep that in mind. We are talking about extremely crucial matters in the history of Islam, from the Quran and the Sunnah, and all of these narrations, alhamdulillah, authentic. What is the consequence of when a decision is taken and the result is negative? A decision is taken based upon Shura, majority, minority, one-on-one, group, selected group. We're going to come to all of these things, and the result is negative. In reality, my brothers and sisters, for a person in charge or a group in charge, it is very common to be mistaken, and the result could be negative. Okay, so what the leaders have to do, they have to learn from their mistakes and move on. And how can it be not? Because it's happened to the best of the best. Another issue to keep in mind, that the result could be negative. The result could be negative. But we always have to, for example, in the Battle of Uhud, the Prophet ﷺ took the minority decision, and the result was not positive, in the sense that he was harmed. Some of the Sahaba deserted him in the battlefield. Some of them disobeyed when the Prophet told them to stay in a certain place. And some of the major companions were killed in that battle. But there was no blame game here. Of course not. Of course, for one of the main reasons is because the Prophet is Prophet of Allah. But we follow that same ideology, and this is how we have to react. We take the decision for the sake of Allah. وَإِذَا عَزَمْتَ فَتَوَكَّلْ عَلَى اللَّهِ, as Allah Ta'ala says. Okay? Let the leaders take the decision. If the leader is the leader of the home or community or so on and so forth, it doesn't matter. Okay, leader. And support them. And if the result is negative, don't go into blaming and going back and forth and crying about it, but take lessons from mistakes. We have to take lessons from mistakes and make it better next time. Similarly, when the Prophet ﷺ, a group of people came, and the hadith Bukhari and Muslim, this is known as the battle of the Bi'r Ma'una, the battle of the well of Ma'una, where 70 of the Qurra, the 70 of the reciters, and the cream, the youth of the companions of the Prophet ﷺ were killed in one shot. A group of people, they posed as Muslims and came to the Prophet ﷺ and said, we need help. So the Prophet ﷺ sent them 70 Qurra, and all of them were killed except 2 or 3. They fled, but rest of them, they were killed. The Prophet ﷺ, as Sahabat al-Kiram, they were not upset about it. These are all based upon mutual consultation. The result always will not be positive, and this is what the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ teaches us. So if this is for them, so what about for us? And the famous example is the hadith of Ibn Abbas in Sahih al-Bukhari with regards to the captives of the Battle of Badr. As we know that in the Battle of Badr, the first battle, 70 people were killed from the kuffar and 70 were taken as captive. So when this was done, the Prophet ﷺ asked Abu Bakr as-Siddiq and Umar ibn al-Khattab radiallahu anhum, what do you think we should do with the captives? Abu Bakr as-Siddiq said, ransom them, take money and release them. Maybe from their progeny people will accept Islam, or they will accept Islam later on. Umar ibn al-Khattab said, no, kill them. Give Aqil to me, to Ali, and give my relatives to me, I'll kill them. And he will kill the ones. So the Prophet ﷺ took this decision of Abu Bakr as-Siddiq. This hadith in Sahih al-Bukhari, by the way. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala next revealed to the Prophet ﷺ that this decision was wrong. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed that there was a punishment which was supposed to be sent, but because of the preordainment, Allah didn't send it, which means that Allah did not hold the Prophet ﷺ and the Sahaba accountable because they were not sinning. They took a decision which is wrong. So the next day, Umar ibn Khattab came and saw the Prophet ﷺ, Abu Bakr weeping. Said, O Prophet of Allah, you are weeping. Tell me, so I will weep, or I will force myself to weep. So the Prophet ﷺ mentioned to him what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed. So this is something, if it happens to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Sahabat al-Kiram, you cannot expect a smooth result in our time. From the verses in Surah Al-Anfal, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions in this specific incident, Allah ta'ala says, مَا كَانَ لِنَبِيٍّ أَن يَكُونَ لَهُ أَسْرَى حَتَّى يُثْخِنَ فِي الْأَرْضِ تُرِيدُونَ عَرَضَ الدُّنْيَا وَاللَّهُ يُرِيدُ الْآخِرَةَ وَاللَّهُ عَزِيزٌ حَكِيمٌ. It is not for a prophet that he should have prisoners of war and he ransoms them free until he has made a great slaughter, until he has taught them a lesson by killing them, because this is the opinion Umar ibn Khattab, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala supported it. Okay, you desire the good of this world, but Allah desires the hereafter, and Allah is the mighty and the wise. Then Allah ta'ala says, لَأَوْلَا كِتَابٌ مِّنَ اللَّهِ سَبَقَ لَمَسَّكُمْ فِي مَا أَخَذْتُمْ عَذَابٌ عَظِيمٌ. Were it not a previous ordainment from Allah, a severe torment would have touched you for what you took. فَكُلُوا مِمَّا غَنِمْتُمْ. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala calmed them down and said, so enjoy what you have gotten from the booty of war, halalan tayyiba, because it is halal and good. Wattaqullah, and fear Allah. Inna Allaha ghafurur rahim. Indeed, Allah is forgiving and most merciful. Next point I wanted to discuss is the firmness of the leaders in taking decision, okay, and holding on to the decision should not be referred to as autocratic. Okay, if you understand that they are Sunni leaders and they are basing it upon Kitab and Sunnah. You might not agree with them and they could be wrong, but we have to still respect our leaders. And this is something very clear from the generation of the companions of the Prophet ﷺ. For example, if you go to Sahih Bukhari, you see that Ibn Mas'ud is complaining that Uthman ibn Affan, who was the Khalifa, was completing his prayer as a traveler. And he prayed behind him 4, and he said, I wish 2 of these would be accepted. But he's the leader of the Hajj, he's the leader of the state. He could not, he corrected, but he accepted the position. The Sahaba did not vilify Abu Bakr as-Siddiq and Umar ibn Khattab in their Khilafah time when they took the position that Hajj al-Tamattu is not allowed. Hajj al-Tamattu is not allowed. This is something very famously known in Bukhari and Muslim. Abu Musa al-Ash'ari, and this hadith in Bukhari, did not vilify Abdullah ibn Mas'ud radiallahu anhu when Abdullah ibn Mas'ud radiallahu anhu made the ijtihad that tayammum should not be allowed. Otherwise the people will take it lightly and will do tayammum and abandon wudu. Because of this fear, he said no tayammum. Of course, this position is wrong. Ijtihad is wrong. But they did not vilify their leaders. And much more examples from the guidance of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wasallam. And one of the best example that we can see, my brothers and sisters, is that the best door for us members to a community leaders is that we are the members of the community. We have a very strong tool, a powerful tool, nasiha, advice, and we have Kitab and Sunnah. If you are sincere and you advise them with Kitab and Sunnah, your responsibility is done. Your responsibility is done towards them, insha'Allah ta'ala. And that's what the Sahabat al-Kiram radiyallahu anhum wa ardahum, they did in their time. And this is something, let me give the example of the Battle of Badr. In Sahih al-Bukhari, one of the best example. The Prophet ﷺ sometimes did not take everybody's opinion. Sometimes he neglected some people, and they are very high, neglected their opinion. For example, in the Battle of the Badr, in the beginning, when they were discussing what to do, okay, and this hadith is reported by Imam al-Bukhari, reported by Imam al-Bukhari and narrated by Anas ibn Malik radiyallahu anhu. He said, when the news of the advance of Abu Sufyan reached him, the Messenger ﷺ consulted his companions. And he said, the narrator said, Abu Bakr spoke, but the Prophet ﷺ did not pay heed to him. Umar spoke, the Prophet ﷺ did not pay heed to him. Then Sa'ad ibn Ubadah spoke, and he said, O Prophet of Allah, if you want, if you order us to plunge into the ocean with our horses, we'll do that. If you ask us to go into one of the remote places with our horses, like Barq al-Ghimad, we're going to do that. Meaning, like he's telling him that the Ansar is behind you. When the Prophet ﷺ got this, the Prophet ﷺ decided to advance with the people to go to the Badr. One of the also glaring example, my brothers and sisters, about how the shuras were done in different ways, when we see how the khalifas were chosen after the death of the Prophet ﷺ. As we know that Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiallahu anhu's leadership, it was of course very clear in the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, indicated that he should be the Khalifa. In many examples. But the Prophet ﷺ clearly in words did not give this wasiyah. Clearly, like Abu Bakr should be the Khalifa. So hence there was a dispute amongst the Ansar and the Muhajira. And the Ansar, as we know, they went to the Thaqifa Banu Sa'idah, and the shed of the Banu Sa'idah, where they used to meet and congregate. They went right after the Prophet died to choose Sa'ad ibn Ubadah as the leader. When Umar ibn Khattab heard this, he took the Muhajira and he rushed to them. And he basically, there was a negotiation between them. Finally, Umar ibn Khattab took the hand of Abu Bakr as-Siddiq. He said, I'm pledging him. And then everybody, the Muhajira pledged and the Ansar pledged. With this pledging, Umar ibn Khattab radiallahu anhu and the Sahabat al-Kiram, they stopped a huge dispute. This is Abu Bakr as-Siddiq's Khilafah. Then Abu Bakr as-Siddiq, when he died, he appointed Umar ibn Khattab mubasharatan. Clearly, he said Umar should be the Khalifa. That's it. So that was followed. When Umar ibn Khattab was in his deathbed, the people said, choose leader for us. He said, do you want me, and this hadith Bukhari and Muslim, I'm going to quickly go through it. Do you want me to take the burden of your matters even after I die? I'm not going to do that. He chose 6 people, Ali, Uthman, Talha, Zubair, Sa'd ibn Abi Waqqas, and Abdurrahman ibn Auf. The 6 people of the Shura, and told them that these people were the people the Prophet ﷺ was happy with, and he told them to choose the leader. And they, of course, there was a discussion, and they chose Uthman ibn Affan to be the 3rd Khalifa. So when he was stabbed, Ibn Umar reported in Sahih Bukhari, he said, when the people came and said, choose a leader for us, he said, if I choose a leader for you, I have an example before me. And he is referring to Abu Bakr as-Siddiq. And he said, if I do not choose a leader for you, I have an example for you too. And that is the Prophet ﷺ. And Ibn Umar said, when I heard this from Umar, I know that he is not going to appoint any member, any person for the Khilafah, because he mentioned the Prophet ﷺ. So he followed the example of the Prophet ﷺ. Ala kulli hal, Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah, we learn this history and we all agree. This is the Aqeedah of Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah, that these 4 Khalifa, they came in succession as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wished it. And we do not dispute about their Khilafah. We do not say this should have been the Khalifa, that should have been the Khalifa. This is the Aqeedah of the people, the Batil, the Shias and the people of the Shi'at al-Shani'ah, the evil people of the Shias, many of the sects up till today, they are disputing about these matters. Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah, the ulama of the Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah, they're firm about this, that this is something that we do not dispute upon. However, we discuss this to understand how the Shuras were made. Khulasat al-Qawl at the end, quickly, Shura is fard and wajib. Shura regarding the religious matter that is decided cannot be put into discussion. Shura should be done for all other matters to avoid dispute, tragedy and fitnah, and to collect the hearts, to listen to the different opinions, and so on and so forth. All these examples that we have discussed show that Shura is of so many types. One-on-one, a selected group, and the big gathering of the community. A misconception among the people is Shura means you have to call everybody in a big gathering. Unless you do that, then you have not done Shura. This is, now we understand, this is one of the best, agreed. One of the best things that you can do. But not all the time we see that the Prophet ﷺ or the Sahaba, they did that. So this should be advised to the leaders, but this cannot be forced upon to say you must do it in every single matter, because in many matters, as you could see, as Sahabat al-Kiram, when they were leaders, they took the decision, Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, fearing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We cannot force a body of leader to adopt a certain way. Okay, we can propose. As long as they do Shura in a legal, one of the legal ways, Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, they're safe from the punishment of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and so is the community. Leaders have to fear Allah and make ijtihad to see when they would use which method and medium, as long as the purpose is not to trick the people or to keep the people in dark. Shura is mu'lima, to collect data. Shura is not mulzima, meaning it is not that it is binding upon the people who seek advices that they must follow the advices. Shura is not democracy. Democracy means the majority wins. This is the the other philosophy. Shura doesn't mean that. Shura means mutual consultation. Shura decision can be based on majority, can be based on minority, or can be based upon none. Okay, after taking the opinions, the leaders could choose something better if they think that is how it should be done. But the whole Shura process covers the right of the people, questioning the decision. Okay, and then this will be Shura in reverse. But of course, this questioning should be done in a moderate way. Otherwise, we are going to sometimes dispute about certain matter until the day of judgment. Okay, so you give your advice, you listen to the leader, and even if you don't agree, Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, you try your best to give them the advice. And once you do that, your responsibility should be over. Leaders can reach a wrong conclusion during the Shura. In such situation, members can advise but must respect the leadership in Islam and not create division, friction and fasad in the society, because Shura is to bring the hearts together. Shura is not to create division and commotion amongst the Muslims. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us the rushd, the guidance from the book of Allah and the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, and the methodology of the companions of the Prophet ﷺ, which is very clear, Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, with this very simple matter which all of us actually practice every now and then. Mutual consultation, without which will be dead meat. We will not be able to even eat our food. Even the grocery that we order, it's upon mutual consultation. If you don't consult your wife, your family, your parents, you will not be able to provide them what they like. You will bring all sorts of food, they'll hate it. So this is something very natural, and let's do it in the way our Prophet ﷺ and the companions did it. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdik, ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta, astaghfiruka wa atubu ilaik. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Brothers and sisters, if you have any question, since we already passed the mark, the time, please send your questions, inshallah ta'ala, and we will try to entertain them as much as possible with evidences. You can leave your questions in the Facebook or send it through the Masjid Ibrahim website. Alhamdulillah, all of these should be answered in due time. Jazakumullah khairan. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.